Good.
All right. We're going to open up the meeting for the January 24th, 2022 zoning board of appeals meeting. All right, then we're going to conduct this meeting with the rules of procedures voted by this board in February of 2021. And then unlike the emergency of or event of emergency, there's two exits, one over here, one over here. Please get out in a safe manner. Okay, introductions. To my right, we have Kelly Cochran, right? Todd Ruthven, Jeremy Marshall, and Jody Bendix. Okay, Tom called me. He's going to be out today. He had COVID last week, and he just takes his first day back to work, and he's whooped, so he's excused. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't go all the way around. We got our clerk of the board, Sarah, John, line order, zoning officer, and Ron Cole. We have Ron Brand, director of development. You all had the meetings, the minutes from December 27th meeting. You all should have had a chance to read them. If so, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'm motion.
Jody, is there a second?
I'll second.
Todd, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? I tested legal publishing. There was none. Right, there was none. We're going to continue public hearing ZB 1002-21. Scott Harder wishes to erect a 3,456 square foot accessory structure or barn in the front yard portion of his lot on County Code 8. Town code requires all accessory structures to be located in the rear portion of the lot. Anybody want to speak for or against this public hearing?
So, Mr. Chairman, we did receive an email from the applicant here requesting to withdraw his application before the board.
Right.
So if you'd be so inclined, we could withdraw that tonight.
Sounds good. Anybody else want to speak for or against it? Hearing none, I will close public hearing ZB 1002-21 and move to board deliberations for ZB 1002-21. Is there a motion to, what's the term I'm looking for, John?
I don't know if we need a motion. Do we need a motion to withdraw, Ron?
Sure. No.
He said no.
Okay.
I saw that part.
You want to mute, Ron?
If you want, I had to mute you for a second, Ron. If you want to unmute yourself, if you want to talk.
Here's the one. Okay. All right. Other board matters. You talked about the rules and procedures for 2022. Nobody from the board themselves wanted to make any changes. However, the staff did. You will see two colors. You'll see red from John and this procedural stuff. And in blue, Ron did not get the email, I guess, and then he looked at it today and he made some changes he would like to recommend. And those are in blue. So we'll just kind of go through the changes real quick, talk about them, and we'll discuss it, each thing, and go from there. So we got 2022. Ron says that the board should be needs to adopt and maintain the rules of procedure. Means, what's that mean, Ron, by maintain? In case something comes up, we have to change our rules of procedures mid-year?
Yeah, this is not the first time you've adopted rules. It's continuation. It's maintaining the rules that you've adopted.
Okay. Then the next one is just procedural 2022. Moving down, January 24th, 2022. Section G, the chair shall ask the board enforcement officer to explain the matters before the board and include in section town code or relief which is being sought. We're asking that be removed, right, John?
Yeah, we figured we hadn't done that this year. It's more of a duplicate. You read the resolution and stuff, you pretty much say the town code and what they're asking relief from. Right. So I'm always here to answer questions, but we felt that was just more of like a duplicate for our office that was needed.
Any comments on that? None? Moving on. Go to section M. We are striking out code enforcement officer and adding zoning enforcement officer. That's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Any comments or questions on that? No? Okay. Go to section W, same thing. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, just the zoning officer. Any questions, comments? All right. X, now this one here didn't make sense to me. So notices to this effect shall be published in the town's official newspaper, posted on the bulletin board of the town hall. Have we talked to Pete? Did he say it's okay that we don't publish it in the newspaper?
So that's just for cancellations, and we haven't done that this year. So when the meeting's canceled, we normally put it on the website, put it on the front door, just say it's canceled.
Okay,
We haven't published it, nor did we
there's
feel.
no point, there's no
Yeah.
point doing the newspaper. Okay, it's just for cancellations then.
That's just if the meeting's canceled. Like if we didn't have this tonight and they had to adjourn or something, we could cancel the meeting last minute. That'd be the only thing.
What about, is it for like weather and stuff too?
Mhm.
All right.
Does Farm have social media at all?
The supervisor's office does.
Yeah.
And then he puts it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he put it
puts
out too. I believe the clerk has it too. And most of the time, once it goes out, it does go out that way. It just eliminates us, like, when he says whether it's a last minute,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't really put the legal notice in. do
No,
it.
it takes all days.
Any more questions or comments on that section? We good with that one, or is there anybody who says no? All right. Section 2, official decision forms. Ron wanted to put the website in there. I think it's a great idea. And then it moves on to board to hear an appeal and interpretation made by the code enforcement officer and or the zoning enforcement officer. And then Ron says, incident the form already being used for denial of a building permit. You want to talk about that one? Let's talk about that, John or Ron?
Let Ron start.
All right.
Yeah, I just, when you fill out a building application and it's denied, the zoning officer usually identifies the section that he's denying it on. And somebody can appeal that, or they can ask for a variance. So I'm just wondering if that's not already being used.
I think the way I read this, Ron, and I mean, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. This is basically, this just says we don't have an official form, like a template or anything for the interpretation of code. So if somebody requests an interpretation of the code officer's decision, like the interpretation of the code from Dan, there's no preset form that the board uses to do that. Like we have the proofs, we have written out those type of forms. We don't have one for interpretation.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now, the board. You have the form yourself, so, okay, that's something that maybe the board wants to consider in the future.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any comments or questions on that? Ron? All right, a couple little things that Ron just kind of pretty much cleaning up, in section 3. The first one is draft agendas be prepared by the town's code, or is that and or zoning there, Ron? I would
No,
think.
I'm just saying town code zoning enforcement officer. It's been pretty much just John and I. Dan hasn't been too much involved that I know of in any of this. So I'm
Right.
just thinking that rather than just saying that it's got to be Dan and me, it should be John and I.
All right, sounds good.
Is that okay, John?
No, that works. If you're gonna go with zoning, that works.
All right, so then we're striking out on or before the Friday prior to the scheduled meeting. They have 5 business days, which I think we have ran into that a few times, especially with this latest one, things being around last minute, just anything last minute. So 5 business days prior to the scheduled meeting for the board. I think it's a great addition. Anybody disagree? No? All right. Copies of the meeting agenda, draft resolutions, and legal notices should be available to the public in the meeting room by 6:45 on the day of the scheduled meeting, in addition to being posted on the screen in the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I didn't have the wording there. I did this so quickly. What I was trying to do is basically say that the agenda for the meetings would be posted on Zoom and
Okay.
contact information. So maybe that needs to be tweaked by John and Dan or whomever, Sarah.
Okay.
So the only thing I could see with that is we put the Zoom, if I were to share the screen for the agenda to be up there.
Yep.
then your guys' pictures are gonna be very small. And with the way the camera's in this room, I don't think anybody's gonna be able to see what's going on. Because the screen share is gonna take over the screen.
Can I just attach it to the Zoom meeting where they can just open it up on their own screens or download it themselves?
Yeah, you can put
We
a
can
link.
probably put it in as a document, yeah,
Actually,
that's, we can do that.
I mean, they have the option, they want to download it now.
Can we do that then?
Just attach it as a, okay.
Good go, Sarah?
We'll do that.
I'll just get the wording.
Okay. All right. Public hearings. As a matter of policy, the board will not take action until the applicant or the agent has attended the public hearing, either in person or Zoom. I think that's just cleaning up code. I don't know how long COVID's gonna go on, so I think that's a great addition. Next, town staff will be given the opportunity to discuss the application. Zoning officer will report whether or not the property has been properly posted. So instead of the code enforcement going on zoning.
Yep.
Yep. Same thing with the referral number. Board shall by resolution classify a type tag, so identify by resolution. That's just cleaning that up.
Yep.
Once this information has been entered into the public record, the board chair will then call upon staff to present, to discuss any draft resolution pertaining to the application which the post has been posted to the town's website in accordance with state open law. Following this presentation, the chair will open the meeting to the public.
That's just cleaning up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure.
You okay with that, John?
Yeah,
Okay. In the event, in no event shall the public have the right to demand an answer to a specific question from a member of the board, taking the word or staff, in the applicant or the member of, or a member of the public. I think it's great. We ran into that with the solar. Any questions?
We saw a lot of that during the solar
Yeah,
applications, and I think it's important to have it in there that, you know, they're to address their concerns to you, not to just turn the backs and talk to the audience.
right. We lost that during solar. So for the newer people, all questions and comments get directed to the chair. Not, they can't ask other people in the public and stuff. It gets directed to me, and if I want to ask a question, it goes out like that. We ran into that with solar, it got ugly. Any comments or questions anymore on section 4, public hearing? That time?
Thank you. Oh, no.
Okay. Any comments, questions? No? All right. We're gonna move down to 5, motions when in order. When a question is under debate or discussion, no motion shall be received except for a motion to amend the question, to put the question to a vote, or to adjourn it to a day and time certain. Adjourn it to a day and time certain, okay. To lay it on the table or to commit to staff or legal counsel by order motion to adjourn the meeting. This is kind of-
You can't just adjourn the board, you gotta adjourn the meeting.
Yeah. Let's just clean it up. The next one we're adding to, okay. The draft resolutions have been prepared by staff, for the board to review and consider at a public meeting. They're taken in when copies of said draft resolutions have been first provided to the board members. We're getting it electronic anyways, so you should still get it in the mail. And they were adding the town site. Anybody questions on 6? Moving to 7. Again, this is just more COVID cleanup. Member of the board shall be eligible to vote at a board meeting when they are either present, either virtually in person or virtually for a meeting, or when the board member is not in attendance at a public hearing and attests to the record that the member has read the public hearing record and feels that he or she is prepared to make an informed decision on the application.
So I thought you had to be present.
They just put out an email. You don't have to,
so you
So that's
guys
changed?
you could read the minutes
Yeah.
now and then say, I'm up to speed on it, and you can vote. So like if this month you closed the public hearing and you weren't here, and next month, but they tabled the decision until next month, you could do it as long as you attest that you read the minutes, you're up to speed on everything, and you know, you're able to make a well thought out decision pretty much.
any other questions on that? Go ahead, Kelly. Oh, you got a question, sorry.
Nope.
Moving on. All right, just kind of a little bit of cleanup, changing the word project application. This is, again, another cleanup when the county planning board recommendation of modification or denial has been received in a majority +1 vote. 4 out of 5 members must vote to override. See section 9 of the county planning recommendations and board voting requirements for the newer folks, so, Todd wants to put up some kind of structure and the count, it has to go to county. The county says we recommend denial. For us to override that denial, we had to have 4 votes, so majority, which would be 3 plus 1. So
Is that at any time?
Anytime.
We only had a 4-person board.
4-person board, so
Okay,
majority.
we had a 4?
If it's
That's what I'm
4
saying, so if we only had 4 people on the board.
So
no one
tonight you
filled in
gotta
that
do
seat.
it.
You still need 4, your vacant does still count.
Yeah, so like, for example, cobblestone was my first vote, my very first vote on this board, and they recommended denial, and there was only 4 people on the board that day. And I was the first vote, and I voted no, they shot the project down.
So I'm not saying.
So if there's 5, you can have 1 no vote, but like tonight, there's 4 of us, all of us would have to vote unanimous or it dies. Make
Well,
sense?
But what I'm saying is if we only had a 4-person board, we didn't have that seat filled.
So you still have a 5-person
Still
board,
has
you just have a
5-person
vacant position.
Just
So it doesn't.
It does, so your vacant position's an automatic, would be the automatic, like,
No.
yes vote or whatever, the opposite vote to override, so you need
Okay.
the other 4 to vote. And that's why, like, next month, we have 2 that went to county planning, they have a recommendation for denial, then probably our recommendation, to you guys, is gonna be to table it, because you're only gonna have 3 people here, so you won't be able to override the county, if that does occur.
Section 8 is just kind of cleaning up wording, changing on determination of significance, classification, and resolution to action. Any comments or questions? No? Number 9, just adding in more of the section. A lot of it's just cleanup. We all have a chance to read it. Is there any comments or questions on 9? No? 10, there's nothing. 11, there's nothing. 12, there's nothing. 13, draft minutes should be made available to the public within 10 business days of the date of the subject meeting. Just kind of makes a little bit more accountability. Okay? Nothing on 14, nothing on 15, should be 16, yeah, 16. Just talking about posting on YouTube now. That stays on there indefinitely, right, Sarah? So that would cover the 1-year part, right?
Well, I'm sorry.
If you posted the meeting to YouTube, right, like it's saying here, that stays on forever, right? So that would cover the 1
No,
year.
I think that we can take that down.
I mean, we can delete it.
Oh, we can, I'm saying, but it
We
can stay.
can, but it
Okay.
can stay.
At this point, I post everything, and I've not been told when
To
or
take
if to
it
take
down.
anything down, so I say it stays there forever.
Stays there forever then. Duties and responsibilities to adding, the board shall be responsible for maintaining their own copy of the town code book while serving in office, and upon the end of the term, just returning it back to the town clerk's office. That's pretty common sense.
So does the town clerk, do they keep track of who gets the code book?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
You're supposed to sign for it, Kelly, did you sign for it? Yeah, because if you don't turn it back in, you get, either a bill or your pay gets deducted, and you'll have to replace it.
Okay.
Cause they're
I haven't gotten
expensive.
one yet.
So call Michelle tomorrow, or.
Yeah.
or
Email or-
shoot her an
Okay.
email.
Joey, do you have a code book here?
No, that's what I think.
Oh, I got you. Acting chair, if I'm absent, Tom York will be the substitute, he's my, acting chair in my absence. Nothing for 19, nothing for 20. I talked to Tom.
I was gonna say, did you want to?
Yeah, I did have a question. So I work in planning and I've always thought that the town law, and I talked to Mark C. Daniels about this too, I think, said 4 hours. So when I read this and I saw all these other requirements, I got kind of confused with the way it was written.
Training.
The training, yeah, because it references the town law section 267 and 271. And then it talks about all these other requirements, but the town law only, the New York State town law only requires 4 hours. And Sarah looked it up, and the way the planning board's rules are, it's a little bit different. But I just got confused because I was familiar with town law, and that's why I was confused. But I understand that's a board.
Right,
Town
so
board.
our town board
Yeah.
sets whatever they wanna
Yeah.
set at the minimum of 4.
Yeah.
But, so I told the planning board, and I should have made, and the only thing the planning board does different is they cut that section out. Jody's seen it, because I sent it to her.
Like,
So the
reference to
planning
town law.
board cuts out number 1 there and just goes to the, so the planning board cuts out this and just jumps to the requirement.
Because then it
So it's up
says
to you guys.
town board statute requirements, which would make.
Well, wait, they have to do the minimum of 4
Yeah.
and then the town board changes adds,
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
So it's up to you guys if you
So it's minimum
want.
of 4, but we have to do 8.
That's what the town.
So
board
The
does.
state says 4, the town says.
So the state, this town can add 2, these can't take away from what the state law is. So state law says there's 4 hours, they can keep it at 4 hours, or they can't do it down to 2. They can say
Yeah.
2, the state law says 4, so they can add to it, which they have done, so.
Yeah, so I got confused because the way this was written to me, this is my interpretation of it, was saying, you know, it's referencing the town law, but the town was this, the New York State town law only references 4.
Oh, why don't we just put at the end of that, complete at least 4 hours?
The town.
Because the town says you have to
Yeah.
complete 8, and we
Yeah.
can't override the town board.
Yeah, so I think what Sarah was saying, what the
That's
planning
the
committee
state
did, was the planning committee just
The state has a town law.
Right, this one requires 4. right?
4, and then
Right,
the
that's what
town
I'm saying, why
board
don't you put it there?
requiring.
That was, yeah, that's my
Or maybe we need to,
Well, I just want to go here and explain what the town board has required.
sorry, this is what we recommend
That's, no, that's what this is what we're required.
here.
Yeah.
Right, so if you add it in here, to keep this section in, just add in that, a minimum of 4 for that, for this law, and then you continue on with the. what else.
Or we could do it like the planning board does, just take out number 1 completely, right? So-
That's the section of their rules of procedure from last year that were approved.
They just took out the section.
They just took out number 1.
So you just go right into the A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah, and then it would say per the training required by the town board,
All right,
because they would require the actual training. It's me being nitpicky, but I was confused about it, and I emailed Marcy about it a few times too, so.
If one person's confused, I'm sure there's 10 others that
I wasn't until now.
Sorry,
So does anybody want to make a recommendation or comment about removing number 1? Wait, before we do that, Ron, John, Sarah, does anybody have any objections to us removing number 1, like the planning board did?
I had no,
All right. Joey, I'm assuming you're making that recommendation?
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Anybody else
I
wanna
just
make any
got
comments
but
on
I
that?
got confused about it.
All right, then we're gonna remove number 1,
The
okay?
town board is having us succeed with the state training, so they kind of override it.
All right. Anything on page 9? There's nothing on there. We got
No.
comments on it? Going to page 10, on number 8, should we insert an appendix A, application submittal dates, county planning meeting dates, and zoning board of appeal dates? Respective chairpersons of the planning board and zoning board of appeals should not exceed the budgeted contractual lines in respective budgets in paying for the training without express approval from the town board with a budget amendment approved to the town board.
yeah, it doesn't Mr. Chairman, it doesn't really fit here, but it came to mind that Dan spends a lot of time putting together the calendars. And the town board, I believe, as part of the organizational meeting, accepts those calendars. And I just thought somewhere's in here before the annual summary report, there ought to be something that relates to the fact that those are established by the town board. And it's not something arbitrary or capricious that your board deals with.
So that won't go with section 8 then, right? It's just.
No.
As worship code, then
we do
Ron,
a section 9
9.
do a section 9?
and say,
Either that or a new number 21 and move everything down 1.
Yeah, let's make this 21. Make its own section.
and so do you want to actually add the schedules in there, Ron, or just say that the schedules will be approved and posted?
Why, Sarah, help me out here. I think Dan does this as part of the organizational meeting every year.
I think that is correct. I don't 100% know, but I know that I have to have it ready prior to the end of the year.
Yeah, so what I'm looking to do here is to basically say that, look, somebody misses a deadline, the town board established those deadlines, not your board. And, you know, if you want to take it up to the town board, be their guest. But it's not something that you change. These dates are set by the town board, the schedules are set by the county, and you're just following them.
All right, so we're gonna make that 21 then,
That makes sense.
right?
Submittal dates, is that what we want to call it? And then,
Yeah, submittal dates, county planning meeting,
okay,
zoning board of appeals meeting. And then Nancy put some verbiage in there.
That makes sense to everybody? All right. Any other questions on page 10? Going down to page 11, just clean up, is adding, insert the dates, for casting this. I think we're pretty good on the rules and procedures. Now, we have two things we can do. We can, table voting on it until next month. We have more time to read it if you want. Or if everybody's comfortable on it, we can pass it tonight, right, Ron? We can pass, or Sarah, we can pass it tonight, right?
That's up to him, I don't know that because we changed the draft, so can
Can she pass it with the draft not being complete, Ron?
I would prefer to table it, but the only reason I'm a little apprehensive about tabling it is we're not gonna have a quorum, we still have a quorum.
You'll have enough to vote next month, and you could send out the thing to the group, and can handle it via discussion to just you.
Yeah.
And then they could vote on what you presented.
Yeah.
So like, if you understand that, like, you could be the, kind of just one email
So-
between you and all them.
I would recommend we table it to next month and when time, and then you guys, next month discuss it. I mean, I'm good with everything that's been changed in here as chair. I mean, I'm good with everything and,
Well, then we can see all the changes too. Tonight, because Ron still has to.
all right, so we don't have to table it, or we're gonna table discussion then until next
Yeah,
month.
it's just
Okay.
discussion, so you'll continue discussion in the next month.
Something else I was gonna- I don't know. That's good. Sorry. Wasn't important anyways. Any comments from the public? Hearing none. Ron, you got any updates?
But just a couple of things. Tomorrow night, the town board's going to have two public hearings. One is on the amendments to chapter 165, which is also known as the solar legislation amendments. But there's other things than solar in there. And then the other public hearing is on the comprehensive plan. Both of those, they have received recommendations of approval from county planning. As a matter of fact, county planning was very complimentary on the comprehensive plan, so we're ready to go with both.
All right, great. Zoning officer, any updates?
Still looking for clerk of the board position?
So we've had, Sarah's been doing this for a while. You pick on her at first, you thought we'd have somebody, but honestly, if you know somebody's looking for just a little part-time job, look at it, Sarah can do it, so you know it's gotta be easy. Right?
Wow,
I mean.
make sure that's in the minutes.
Well, for real, Sarah's been doing this long enough and whatnot, and, if you know somebody, let us know. And,
Preferably before they make it part of her job title, you know.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll just give up and say it's yours.
Right.
Other
She
than
does a
that,
great job, but, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
no, sorry, I apologize. Other than that, we have two applications for next month, both of them regarding the safe place storage on Denny Drive technically, but the Colette Road Denny Drive across from the FedEx there. They want to expand, so those will be in your packets. And they'll be uploaded probably, normally I try to do it by the end of the first week, or the last week of the month, but definitely by the end of next week, they'll be uploaded onto the server. And for you, Kelly, if you haven't gotten that, we do have a online server. Sarah sent that out, where you can access everything digitally. It allows you to get it before we mail it out, because we normally don't mail it out until like the week before the meeting, but you can review it all digitally and see what's coming. The agendas are put there as soon as those are finalized and approved by Jeremy, and everything gets posted. I believe that's all I have, so that'll be February 28th.
And again, before we go to the next thing, I, myself, and Todd will not be here at the next meeting. We'll be scuba diving. I'll send you all a postcard. And next time meeting is February 28th. Any other matters for this board before we adjourn? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?